Hi everyone, this is Christian from the White River Partnership, and I'm going to show you today how to get your turbidity reading on your water quality days. So the first thing you need to do when you get down to the river to take your turbidity sample is make sure you have the right equipment. What you're going to need for this is your turbidity tube and a yogurt container. First, I wanted to show you the two different turbidity tubes that you might have. Overall, they're very similar, but some of our turbidity tubes have a latching system like this at the bottom, which you need to make sure is sealed before you fill it with water. And some of our turbidity tubes just use a simple clip to make sure that the hose is sealed at the bottom. So when you take your turbidity reading, you're going to want to make sure you try and take this at the same location that you take your E. coli reading. And what you're going to do, you can do it two ways. You can either fill a yogurt container with water and pour it into your turbidity tube, or you can enter the water if the water's deep enough and submerge your turbidity tube to fill it with water. So the water is deep enough here for me to submerge the turbidity tube to get my sample today. So I'm going to stand in a safe position where I have good footing and submerge the turbidity tube in the same location that I took my E. coli sample. You see I held it in long enough to fill it all the way to the top. We want to make sure that we fill it to over the 120 centimeter mark. So now that you have your turbidity tube filled, you need to read the tube to see what your turbidity level is. What you want to do is position your body so you don't have too much glare from sunlight, or you can kind of shade the tube yourself. And you want to look directly down the tube to see if you can see the Secchi disc image on the bottom. So I have my turbidity tube filled to 120 centimeters. I'm in a good spot where the sun isn't too bright, and I'm going to look directly down through the tube. While you're looking down through the tube, you can rotate it back and forth, and I can see the bottom Secchi image disc on the tube, so I know my reading is going to be 120 centimeters plus. So when you take your initial reading at 120 centimeters, you may not be able to see the Secchi disc image on the bottom. If you cannot, you want to slowly release water until you get to a height where you can see it. You can release water by undoing either your clip or this right here. You can release water and tighten it again and repeat the process of looking down through it. It's best to only release about 1 centimeter of water at a time and keep checking until you get down to a point where you can see the image at the bottom.